Welcome back to Das Wagen Garage. We're actually going to be tearing down the engine, and yeah, it's dark. So this is actually going to be a two-part video where we're tearing down the engine, and I'm going to be receiving some parts that I already ordered because I actually will need to replace the gaskets, the timing chain, tensioners, the chain itself, and a couple of their bolts inside, especially the head bolts. So I've already ordered parts for this. Now the only thing is whether the internals are any good or are they any bad. All I know is that there is a misfire on one of the cylinders. So from the timing chain side, I'm counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All I've been told is cylinder number 2. That could have been counting from this side that way. But cylinder 2. And we're going to take a look at that in here in a bit. Now, before I really get into this engine, we're going to take a look at a couple of things. So as I mentioned, we're starting from the timing chain side, counting 1 through 5. Let's take a look at cylinder 1. Cylinder 1's looking good. The valves are looking a little bit of shine. See off the metal. Cylinder 2, same thing. A little bit more carbon than cylinder 1. Cylinder 3 is looking about the same. There's some shine off the metal, so those are good. Cylinder 4. So cylinder 4 is actually our worst one. So cylinder 4 actually has some carbon buildup on one of the intake valves. And there could be a number of reasons for that. Cylinder 5. So cylinder 5 is looking pretty good. Now we're going to take a look at the exhaust side of the valve. So again, we're looking at from the timing chain side 1 through 5. So cylinder 1, there's going to be a little bit of coal ash on the valves. So cylinder 1's looking not too bad. Cylinder 2 is good. Cylinder 3 is the same as the others. Let's see, cylinder 4, there's a lot more carbon than any of the other valves. So cylinder 4 seems to be our culprit here. Cylinder 5, same as the rest of them. So cylinder 4 is our only one that seems to be a problem. So we're going to take a look at what the spark plugs tell us before we take off the head. Overall, this is not looking in bad shape. As we can see that there seems to be a lot of oil around the gas cable. Clean some of that off. So what I can see, if I can look closer, this camera isn't going to be the greatest, but everything seems to be of normal wear from the exhaust side. Cam, bears, everything seems to be good shape. The intake valves seem to be good, actually, except for there's a little bit of scoring, at least maybe heat scoring. This is cylinder 4. Cylinder 4 seems to be showing some more of that, and there's some of it on cylinder 5. The exhaust side has more of it. I'm going to have to look into make sure that I'm looking at this correctly, but there's not a lot of very heavy scoring on all of these parts. I'm going to take this out and take a look at it further in a second. Before I take anything further off, to take a look at the internals, take the cams out, I'll take off the timing chain cover as well as the secondary air sensor. Now there's one thing I actually did forget to do, which also don't get on to me. This is my first time building an engine, working on an engine, or at least tearing down an engine. But one of the first things you do for tearing down an engine is you must drain it of all the fluids. And now this has mostly been drained. This doesn't have any coolant flows through it. Part of that has been dripped out during putting in the car, but there's still probably going to be some oil in the pan. So got to empty the pan before we can fully undo all of it. So at this point, I actually had to go get a tool. A half-inch impact, because I actually needed it, and I had the socket, but I didn't have the impact. So I had to go get that. Plus, it's daytime now, and I just decided to take a rest in the middle of my build. But I will disclaim this: I am no expert on breaking down engines. I will link in the description a video that I am following along with, and I'm not going to make this super accurate, but I'll show you guys some of the things as I go along. So, taking off the head, and I've noticed something. There's this one singular lifter. It's got all these grooves. It's terrible. I wonder if this is the only thing that's been damaged, because all the other ones look like normal wear, some light scoring. I think it's probably cleaned with a cloth. All of these look fine, intake and exhaust side, except for this one. And if we do look, this is cylinder 4, and that is also the one that has been getting more carbon. So I wonder if that's been part of the problem. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to replace this lifter, as well as the, we'll just say, safely say, probably the retainer, the spring. We might have found our culprit. Now I'm back to a point where I also don't have another tool for this engine, which is part of learning how to take down this engine. The head bolts are a Polydrive, special tool, Volkswagen tool, but I do not have that tool. I'll be back again. Might be later tonight or tomorrow, another day. Well, good news. I have the tool now. Took another 2 days, but I have the tool now, so now I can tear down the rest of this engine. So we'll get started with that. Yeah, apparently I don't have the length for one of these tools, so some ingenuity. Take that same socket with the T30, and then what we got here? It's a 7mm. Ingenuity. That's called lazy engineering, by the way, but it works. No, it doesn't. And never mind, I actually just sent it. The set of this bolt might be a little scored, but we're clear. We're none of those exterior bolts now. Should be just these. Well, yes, this engine stand is rotating as I'm trying to loosen these. Torque, I've got the torque. Okay. Should be able to loosen these all. Totally by hand. Did I not loosen that one? That one's just still. Oh, that one's loose. I know it sounds pointless for me using this just to loosen them up at this point that it's already cracked loose, but it's a lot faster to unscrew them through the threads like this way. What I've also went ahead and taken care of is actually taking off the lower timing chain and the cover, and there were so many bolts, and even some of them I missed. But the one thing that I've learned about this is actually the best way for me to remember where these will go is that I've decided to paint mark these. Now the paint might be faded just a little bit, and they probably will get scored and worn away at some point, but I do have, even on the surface of the timing chain cover here, that the 4 bolts that went into the 4 longer bolts, which were the 4 upper longer bolts, those spots were even marked. So I'm trying to do a good one, you know, and actually think ahead in some aspects. What I think is going to be most appropriate is at least trying to keep a hold and count of where these are. And what I'll even point out is that a lot of these items that I've taken off, from the timing chain tensioner to the head to the sprocket, I kept a lot of the hardware with those pieces so that I remember, at least for now, because I don't have a large table, but I remember for now that these items are together. Like these bolts go here. Now there's going to be a few other bolts that don't have any designated, because these bolts go with the head, and I'll end up having to figure those out later. I'm going to play with it. So, but I've got the hardware together. I've got it like semi-organized. The head bolts, the bolts are all together. The head bolts are all together, and even the harmonic pulley. What I've done is actually kept all of these bolts together. That's kind of how I organize myself, but like I said, I don't have a very big table, as you've seen in other parts of the video. I don't have a very big table for now, so this is what I'm working with, and it's going to be helpful so far. So until I get that a bigger table, this is what we're going to do. Okay, now I've gotten to myself to a point where I have finally cracked everything. The upper pan, which was above the oil pan, the upper pan has been taken off. All bolts for the crankshaft and the connecting rods have been cracked, as not actually cracked, not just as in loosened, so that way I can hand loosen them when I come back to this. It's late at night at this point. I keep coming back every night. This is a process, this is a phase. As at the same time, because I'm about to take all of these out and then put them on the table, I've went ahead and organized everything, including the head bolts for that, the camshaft cover bolts, the timing cover bolts. I have everything that's in baggies and reorganized, because what I know is these are going to be the most important parts that need to be organized appropriately, especially with keeping them together and aligned properly, because they're evenly cracked. They're not smooth, flat surface. They are just casted in the right way that you can just snap them apart and they're loose, and you keep them evenly organized on the same side together, as I'm even picking up some marking. So I've got these all together, and next thing is going to be taking all of these internals out, laying them out, and then that way I can work on the heads, work on the head, the block, putting new piston rings on these pistons and a number of things. So we're here, this is phase one. Phase one is done. We'll call this phase one done. Everything is opened up, cracked, organized together. Phase two begins. Once I organize it, put it on the table, phase two begins. But right now, we're gonna finish up. I'll head for the night, and I'll actually show you guys in the morning how I've got everything organized. Now, finally, I've taken out the crankshaft, taken out all the pistons, connecting rods, the bearing journals, all the bolts. For everything, and this engine is completely been torn apart except for these three sensors that are right here. So, phase one, this is phase one, done. Tear down engine was phase one. We've had some other parts of the car that we've kind of set ready for this to be moved forward with. This is phase one done. Now, I will take note and mention that while I had taken these things out, there have been a few things I wanted to check. Check the bearing journals, all the surfaces on the connecting rods. The pistons do not seem to be terribly worn. Plenty of oil residue. Same thing with the crankshaft, there's plenty of oil residue. And nothing that seems out of place. I think there's one or two scores that I see on the crankshaft, but so minor that I could probably just scrape with an emery cloth. Now, I will make mention that it is very important. So if you are taking out an engine and taking apart the connecting rods, do note, and I'm making this very clear, it is very important that these connecting rods are kept together. Okay. That these connecting rods are kept together. Factory and cast forged connecting rods will have a crack here at where they connect to the crankshaft. And the reason for that is that's the way that they are made. They're cracked that way. Somebody else can explain it better than I can, but what I want to make up is that when you take them apart, do clean the surfaces that are in here. If there's just oil that just happened to got in there during disassembly, that's fine, but clean them before you put them back together. And the reason being is that the surfaces that are cracked are much more fragile than any of the other bearing surfaces inside the engine. These are the most fragile. And the reason being is because those fractured surfaces can get grime in them, and with the heat, they can expand, they can cause a further break in them, and these bolts that are holding them together won't be enough to keep it if you let some grime in. So you gotta keep these clean. Just take some basic clean. Engine cleaning, no problem. Don't degrease it, no degreaser, just straight engine cleaner. And then when you put them back together, to put them on your table, shelf, you want to put the bolts that were connected with them together. And the other part of that is that these are very specific. So when they are cracked from either from assembly or from you getting a fresh new set of connecting rods and you crack them, they're cracked very perfectly to each other. So one side is not going to fit the same way on the other side. They're not even. So they only fit one certain way. And the crack is so hard to see, which is good. And then when you put them back together, make sure that you put these back together with those correct sides, and then hand tighten the bolts snug. You don't want to torque them down, just snug. That way you can keep them out of the way. You won't have to worry about them. And your surfaces inside the cracks stay clean. So just did want to mention of that. That's a very important thing. So with all of that said, with everything that's been done over the past X days, I'm not going to explain, this is now ready to be cleaned, resurfaced. The head and the camshaft cover all ready to be cleaned, resurfaced for reassembly. I've already got the replacement parts from the tank and chain tensioners, piston rings. The only thing I had ordered was the bolts, which I'm going to get some replacement bolts, some head bolts, and then some bearing drones. Replace all the bearing drones. Or I can probably go with these. These aren't bad. I might just reuse them, just to, depending on how much it's going to cost or what it would take. But so I've got everything to reassemble this. But before I reassemble this, it's got to go to a machine shop, get all surfaces checked. I've also got to take apart the valves, the intake and the exhaust valves, have those checked, and there's a few of those rockers that actually need to be replaced as well. So a number of things that will need to still be replaced. Machine shop will have to go through these, check all the tolerances, and then machine it with fresh new piston rings. So that will be the next phase. So it's probably going to be a while before I start up a new video, but this has been a very good phase. We have to start first couple of videos with the car. I'll probably come up with something to work on, So if you've stayed to this point of the video, I very much appreciate your support. Leave a like and subscribe down below. Comment, let me know if there's anything that I need to know moving forward for tearing down an engine or rebuilding an engine. If there's anything that I may have missed, anything else I should check, or something that I probably already checked but you didn't see, just let me know. So I thank you so much for following along this far, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching Das Wagen Garage.